Yo, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Prison Break Raw. I'm your host, the one and only Big JD. Go ahead and give this channel, subscribe, share at least some messages and comments, hit the like button, hit the notification bell to be informed on all upcoming episodes. Before I get into the topic at hand, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to a channel that a good homie of mine put me up on game about. Good homie Wino. If you're out there, shout out to you, Wino. But the channel is called The Dubs Show. And if you're not familiar with it, go check it out. The man was speaking some real good game and wisdom today that I listened to. He was talking about all these different channels and how we're labeled as prison channels or convict channels. And it makes a lot of sense. But then again, at the same time, a lot of these channels, when they have that form of like label on them, it actually draws a lot of attention to them. The name of my channel, Prison Break Raw, kind of speaks for itself. Because basically what I'm hoping to accomplish with all this is not only to entertain you and to provide you with satire and comedy humor, basically to debunk certain things, talk about all kinds of shit, whether it be educational, ghost stories, UFO encounters, maybe even some war stories and some information of what you do not want to explore in the realm of where I've been and where you don't want to be. Because in the end, that's really what it's all about for a lot of us. We hope to deter some of you, and I hope that my Women in Chains series is deterring some of you ladies out there that might be considering getting involved in that kind of like deceivious culture of crime, and you're going to get caught, and you're going to end up in one of the prisons, and that's what you're going to have to deal with. So that's the general gist of Prison Break Raw, is to help you break free from the prison of your mind. Not going to get too much into that. I want to bring you the topic at hand, and that is, do people in prison really care about presidential politics? Now here we are, we're approaching an election year. All the excitement's all built up. Everybody's hearts are pattering. Everybody's got a little boner. Panties are getting creamy and all that stuff like that. Everybody thinks that they're going to dethrone the devil who's in the White House right now, as a lot of people like to call him. But do people in prison really care if Donald Trump's in the White House, or if somebody else is in the White House, or Barack Obama, or Bill Clinton, or George Bush, or Attila the Hun, or Lex Luthor, or freaking Buzz Buzzard, or anybody else that you can think of? Cartoon characters, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. Does anybody really care in prison who's in the White House? And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to give you a very strong, firm no. Nobody gives a shit in prison who's in the fucking White House. Why? Because it don't even affect us. A lot of us have been in the system long enough to know that a president is just nothing but a mouthpiece pumping out all kinds of wind. Just like you like to hear big mouths, politicians are the master champions of big mouth bullshit artists that you can ever possibly imagine. I don't care what political party they're from. I don't care if they're a Democrat, a Republican, a communist, a Nazi, a freaking right-wing national, an Islamic fundamentalist. It doesn't matter what their party is. They're all the same people. They're all the same. All they want is money, 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 and all they want is to benefit themselves and whoever it is that's paying them. And that's all they care about. They're just like any other entertainer out there in the world. They're entertaining you with false hope that they're going to solve all your problems, but they can't. A president has very limited power, first off and foremost. A lot of us that have studied government understand this. President doesn't have much power at all. Because I'm going to tell you, he can't even order a Big Mac without somebody taking it to one of these district courts, one of these circuit courts, and filing an appeal on it and get it tied up for years in the appeal process. Not only that, but if you have a Congress that's against you, then it's just like, it's chaos. Nothing is ever going to get done. All the bills that they push forward that he's going to sign into law will never get signed into law, and everything he wants them to put out is never going to get done. It's going to be just pandemonium all the time. And this is what we see. So why would we care in prison? It doesn't affect us. Now, I know you got some of these candidates that are out there, you know, basically woofing out of the side of their neck, talking about, oh, we're gonna let people incarcerated vote. I heard Bernie say that. Bullshit. Nobody's going to let anybody in prison vote. Even if they did, what were they going to vote for? What are they going to vote for if they're in there? What you think's going to happen, man? Dude's going to be in the cell. Beam, 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 beam. Hey, Nacho. Hey, what do you think I should do about Proposition 3A, supplying more water to Clarendon County? You think I should vote for this one in, yes or no? They don't care. It has nothing to do with them in there. Any of this shit. Measure 3B to build a new highway in Madison County. Do you think I should vote yes or no? Nobody cares. Nobody's going to vote in there. And it's just a stunt that a lot of them like to play, man. It's the optics that we told you about. Politicians are the masters at neurolinguistic programming and optical illusion, right? A lot of these people learn from them. They learn from the greatest of magicians. The media basically teaches them how to spin this shit. So in prison, we don't care about presidential politics. There's a lot of guys that are in prison that have been there for decades that are in there as a result of the tougher sentencing laws and the tough on crime laws that came out in the early 90s during the Clinton administration. A Democrat, by the way, whose wife was just running for president in the last election. Now, I gotta say, though, honestly, this last presidential election had more interest inside than I've ever seen a presidential election ever have. And that's solely because of Donald Trump. Because he's unorthodox, he's sarcastic as fuck, he's arrogant, and he's just like cutting people down with just straight bully tactics. And a lot of the people that he was bullying are the people that were keeping people in prison back in the 90s. Namely Hillary Clinton, who liked to call us all super predators and scumbags and dirtbags, and we're all rapists and child molesters and cannibals and mass murderers. So we need to be locked up, and all the comforts of prison need to be taken out of there. All our college programs, all our weights, tobacco, all these things are a result of that stuff. They like to call it a healthier prison environment, but prison environment has never been healthy to begin with. So it's just nothing gets done, and it doesn't matter who's in there. Because I was in there pretty much all through the second term of Barack Obama. And he talked a good one about doing this and doing that, even in his first term. Didn't do anything to change anything. Didn't change the sentencing guidelines. Didn't bring back parole. Didn't re-implement any kind of tangible rehabilitation programs or college programs. The only thing that he really did was ask companies to step up to the plate and give everybody a second chance. And he allowed us to get Pell Grants while we're in the halfway house. But we should have already been getting those anyways, because a reentry center is not a correctional center. But that's neither here nor there. Basically, presidential politics means nothing. And nobody cares if Donald Trump stays in the White House, in prison, if he's in there, if he stays in there, if he's out of there. They don't care. I promise you, they don't care. It's just like when he won, nobody was sad and upset. The same thing if Hillary Clinton won, nobody'd be sad or upset. But a lot of people got off on the fact that he was butchering her with all this shit, and he was butchering all those other people, just chopping them down. People were loving that because a lot of those people are responsible for long prison sentences for a lot of them fellas that are sitting on the block in the compound over there. So don't be fooled into thinking that people in prison really care about presidential politics, because they really don't. And let me give you a piece of advice. If you're going to go to prison, I like to give you information and tools and strategies on how to stay out or how to not go. But I also, as you know, since it's raw content, I also like to educate you on, if you are going to go to prison, maybe I could give you some advice, some help, some guidance, some tools that'll keep you from getting a bone crusher shoved in your throat. So here it is. Don't go into prison and talk about politics. Nobody gives a fuck, right? Don't go into prison. That's one of the things. Don't talk about politics or religion. Those things, nobody wants to hear about. You're liable to get yourself into some bullshit if you do that. If you're going to go in there and talk about gambling, talk about what TV shows are on, American Idol, freaking Top Model, Love and Hip Hop, whatever it is, go ahead and spit it out there. I know American Idol ain't around anymore, so I don't want you people to say I'm behind in the times. But whatever TV show it is, The Voice, I don't care. People watch all that shit in there. Go ahead and talk about that. Talk about gambling. Talk about sports. People love to talk about sports in there. Talk about how you was pimping hoes and slamming Cadillac does when you asking somebody if you could borrow a soup off of them. You could do all that stuff. But don't talk about politics, presidential politics, because nobody in there gives a fuck. Mark my words, nobody cares. And when whoever wins in 2020, if they do dethrone Donald Trump, don't think that all the doves are going to be flying and all the flowers are going to be blooming and the sun's going to be shining brighter. It's going to be the same old, all talk, no action type of bullshit, and it's going to be the same. It doesn't matter who's in there. Trust me on that. Nothing changes in politics. It's all business as usual. So don't be fooled by all the bullshit, and don't bite into this that people in prison would even give a shit who's the president or not, because really, nobody cares. And as you shouldn't care either, because it doesn't matter. That's just my 2 cents, coming at you with Prison Break raw, uncut, uncensored, no holds barred, all up in your face, non-sugarcoating, non-politically correct, slapping you with a you know what of reality, and I'm out.